How did you guys come up with the idea for the Vitox? I'm just going to show the product again. The Vitox drinking vinegar.
Yeah, so several years ago, my dad was had some pre-diabetic symptoms.
Okay.
And my mom, she heard that apple cider vinegar was good for pre-diabetics. So she started making him drink apple cider vinegar, but like most people, he just hated the taste and it was very harsh on his system. So my mom instead started making this fermented blend of raw cold pressed pineapple juice and apple cider vinegar. And after drinking it, this was his, completely personal experience. But in 3 months, he lost 20 pounds, and now he's no longer pre-diabetic. So, having seen, him going through these changes, we wanted to share our experience with others. So my brother and I launched this business.
Perfect. So you took your mother's recipe, or how did you kind of go from the beginning?
Yeah, so it was my mom's homemade recipe, and she's been in the food and business in the business for more than 10 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very familiar with making recipes and menu development. So she was fiddling around in the kitchen, and she came up with this recipe.
Perfect. So you're saying that part of the reason why you're bringing it to market is because people, your family had a beneficial effect of drinking this on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why you want to bring it to people. But why now? Why do you think people are going to want to try drinking vinegar now?
Right, so our family, we believe in the therapeutic power of quality food, and gut health is such an important part of your overall health. 70% of your immune system lives in the gut, and it's also related to serotonin production. So it's very having a gut health is very important for your overall health and also for your mood as well. So all of these things are very much linked together. And apple cider vinegar has actually been drinking for a very long time, from the samurai who drank it to fight fatigue, and Cleopatra drank it for her skincare. But really now in YouTube and Hollywood, people are drinking it for weight loss and detox. So it's a very much a beverage that people are turning towards. It's a rising category in the beverage industry, and we just made it so much more tasty and more convenient and more powerful.
So take us through that process. Your mother had a recipe. Your brother and you decided, okay, we think we should launch this product. How do you go from a recipe to, having products on the shelf and products that people are loving?
Yeah, so we from that homemade recipe, we went through about 1,000 hours of research and development. And after the production development process, we launched it at Expo West. And immediately after launch, we were selected as a Nexty Award New Beverage finalist.
A what?
Nexty Award.
Nexty
Award
Okay.
New Beverage finalist at the lead industry trade show called Expo West. So that's in Anaheim, which is right near where we live. So that's kind of where we got our start. And from there on, we got in contact with retailers and distributors. So from there on, we kind of started our path. So right now we're distributing in about 113 stores, some in SoCal and some in the East Coast and in Texas and some other various places. So
what kind of stores would stock Vitox?
Yeah, so we're selling right now at Wegmans and H-E-B supermarkets.
So it's regular grocery. You see it being a kind of grocery-based product.
A grocery-based product, but in addition to our supermarkets that we're currently working with, we're looking into convenience stores as well, and also some interesting accounts like Equinox, SoulCycle, Orange Theory, places where our target consumer who's interested in health and fitness, and like women between ages 25 and 55. And those current consumers of functional beverages would be easy to reach. So we're looking into some interesting channels like those fitness centers, and also like food service accounts like Sweet Green or Tender Greens, those retailers as well.
Perfect. Now you mentioned 1,000 hours in the beginning to kind of get things rolling for this business.
Right.
How does that break down? What were the kind of key milestones, key challenges you needed to cope with to bring your idea to market?
Right, so definitely, there's a lot more things that goes into product development just from the homemade recipe. And most of the research goes into fermentation. So fermentation is what's unique about our product and what differentiates us from other beverages. So unlike other beverages, we go through a fermentation process that takes up to 21 days. So that is quite a long time, during which process the product needs to be attended to at the right moments. So it sits there, but things still need to be done to it during that sitting time. So things go on during that time, and the specific steps that the product goes through is kind of what we were in development with, and the specific process that we're doing to it, that's what makes it shelf stable, that's what makes it probiotic. And also through that fermentation process, the flavors become well blended and the harshness of the vinegar is a bit softened, and that's what makes our beverage more tasty.
It's only a bit softened though, isn't it? It's certainly, I mean, I personally love it. I got to say I love it, but it's got a nice bite to it.
Yeah. So especially the lemon ginger that Andrew really likes. This one has a little bit of cayenne pepper.
So it's cayenne pepper, charcoal.
So it's lemon, ginger, activated charcoal, and cayenne pepper. And there's, of course, apple cider vinegar in it. And then it's fermented, so it's probiotic, like kombucha.
And that's a 21-day fermentation process.
Right, so approximately 21 days.
Right. And what's with the, why did you choose to add activated charcoal, the lemon, the ginger? What was that about?
Right, so this is actually called the ultimate cleanse. So everything that people are consuming these days to cleanse their body and to detox, it's pretty much in here. So all the ingredients that people are looking towards for cleansing, you can find it in here.
And is that something you would generally have every day, or is it like a 3-day program or a 6-day program? Or, I mean, I know I basically use it every day because I like it, but is that recommended or not?
Right, so the recommended dosage for apple cider vinegar is about 2 tablespoons per day, but ours is a ready-to-go kind of formula, so you can drink it as a water alternative or a soda alternative. So it's a
healthy soda alternative.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So you can drink it however much you want.
So where do you guys see yourself being in about 5-10 years time?
5-10 years time, we started with the concentrates, and right now we have a ready to drink that's diluted in water. We have so many product lines that could come from this concentrates. So it includes like sparkling ready to drinks, like salad dressings, or like radlers, which you could mix to beer.
Which ones?
Radlers.
Rattlers?
Radlers.
Rattlers.
Yeah.
I don't know what a rattler is.
I know, I didn't know it either. It's coming up, but it's pretty cool.
Okay.
I actually tried this with a Budweiser and it tasted pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then you could mix it to like vodka, so a bunch
So there's
of
multiple ways you
products.
can leverage the product. So that tells me what you can do with the product. Multiple product lines, multiple product SKUs. You said
And then channels as well.
multiple channels, go international, etc. So that's growing the company. But where do you hope the company will be? What kind of company will it be? Will it be a private 500-person company in multiple countries? I mean, how do you envision growing this, homemade recipe into a thriving business?
We are I don't know, 5-10 years, it's a bit.
Is it too long?
It's a bit long.
Okay, give me like 3 years then. How's that?
3 years, definitely growing the business and like, world domination kind of thing.
World
Vinegar.
domination. That sounds
How's
take fabulous. Vitox vinegar around the world. It sounds fantastic. What have been some of the tough things about starting this business? What have been some of the challenges where you've kind of scratched your head for a little while and needed to figure out how to solve them?
A difficult thing, definitely like distribution. Working with distributors is something that's completely new to us. We've been working with food and beverages businesses for 10 plus years, but distribution is
10 plus years outside of your this current product.
Outside of our
So your family has been involved
right,
in
our
it. Okay,
family.
got it.
Yeah, so but then working with distributors and going through the setup with like supermarkets and things like that. So that's completely new to us and one that we've had struggled with and didn't have anyone to ask help for. So something that we've been struggling with for sure.
And now you're solving it?
Yeah, so the things that we did take our time with it, but then they are all coming to fruition. So we'll see how they all go.
What else? How have you funded this? Bootstrapping initially?
Bootstrapping,
Okay.
So, and
because you said you went to the show in Anaheim. By then you had a prototype product in small volume, or what were you taking to the show in the Expo West?
Right. So we had a prototype that we were starting with. We also had another product line that we were also working with, and that's a flavored almond line. So with that product, we were working with like American Airline business lounges and selling at Ritz-Carlton Marriott. So they have several accounts like working with hotels and things like that. So with that flavored almond line, we've kind of had BTOX right next to it.
Okay, perfect. And okay, so bootstrapping. What do you think from the beginning? Let's say for the first. How long has the business been alive now?
It's been 1 year.
1 year. So how much do you think you've needed to put in from a bootstrapping perspective over the first, let's say, 6 to 9 months to get things rolling?
From the 6 to 9 months to get.
In other words, before FoodX, before we kind of got involved.
Like the research and development part, and of course the facility part, and our labor, of course.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is if somebody is listening to this and they want to start a business, it doesn't need to be a beverage, but any business, it's nice if they know that they can kind of get things going. Excuse me. If they can get things going for, 5,000, 10,000, 6,000, 2,000. Most people seem to think that starting a business can be a $50,000 minimum process, and I think it's most people we speak to manage to get things going for a lot less.
Ours would be more than $50,000.
Yours would be more than $50,000. Okay, so you're not going to be able to tell people, this is easy, this is inexpensive. Yours is somewhat expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I apologise to people listening. I've got a bit of a cold, so you just heard me sneeze. Okay, so you got into FoodX. What have you been doing since you joined?
Yeah, so we've been working on our pitch deck mostly. So that was a big part of our big learning experience here. So and then like learning how to pitch and talk in front of investors, things like that. And also we've received a lot of mentorships and advisory from the FoodX team, and as well as people coming into the FoodX office. And then we're looking now into like financial projections and I don't know, so something like,
So basically getting ready for real funding.
For real funding, for investment. So everything that hasn't really been quite lined up, even though all the little things are there, they haven't ever been like organized and like actually, packaged into like little things. So, and that's, pretty much, it's not just about like what goes into the slide, but it's rather like the content of what goes into that slide, basically. So that and that.
So it's getting the business ready, getting things lined up, and then kind of figuring out how to represent that as an investor pitch to raise money.
So like the content itself, gets more polished, and then the presentation gets polished, and then the delivery gets polished as well. So
perfect. Yeah, you did a presentation to the judges maybe about 2 weeks ago, and you of the 8 companies we have in the current cohort, you won, right? You basically nailed that. From what people told me, you did a great job with that. Okay, so Vitox vinegar is in about 200 stores, give or take?
Yes, 113.
113? Okay. And it's in ready to drink, but it's also in concentrate?
Yes.
Perfect. And world domination is the goal over the next 2 to 3 years.
Everyone's drinking apple cider vinegar.
They should be. It's healthy stuff. It's prebiotic and it's good for it's good for the health. At least we're being told it is. What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know about your company? How many people in the business right now?
Yeah, so right now, me, my brother, and my mom, and a little bit my dad, and also we have one or two guys in the production facility. So
and how are you all dividing up the role? Who does what in the business?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like more of the product design and product development and marketing side.
Mm-hmm.
My brother is definitely in like the sales and production side. My mom's in the menu development side and just a general advisory role. And my dad, he comes in once in a while whenever we have like a little bit of a crisis, like production crisis. He comes in and he's like the problem solver.
Perfect. I think those are my kind of main questions. Do you have anything that would be helpful to other entrepreneurs who are thinking about getting involved in a food-based product? Actually, one last question based on that. Are there any kind of restrictions or things to take into consideration when it comes to producing your product?
Restrictions are just getting, like a health permit, and if you need your product to be FDA registered, then you need to do that. I think the biggest thing for food.
Did you need to get it FDA registered?
We got our facility registered and our product registered as well, I believe.
But in terms of apple cider vinegar and the various ingredients, they're all pretty much grass, right? So
yeah, so they're all pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So easy process, tough process?
It could be easier if you know from the start like where to go. So just the fact that you're listening to this podcast means you're getting prepared. You're actually hearing from people who's done it, and I'm sure there's other podcasts above mine that you can also listen to help us out.
And you guys decided to build your own little production facility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than give the recipe to somebody like a big company to manufacture for you.
Right.
Was that just because of the 21-day fermentation and the complexity of the product itself?
Right. So our product, it goes through a special process, and to have, since, Americans, they do know fermentation, but it's not as familiar or easy to them as for Asians such as ourselves. So that's kind of like the barrier that we saw. But of course, co-packers, they have high minimums. So when you're an entrepreneur just starting off, you need to do a big upfront investment to have your initial
1,000 units or
right,
however many it might be.
So, and then your labels could change or your recipe could change, and they might need to sit in a warehouse for like 6 months or so for you to turn your products. So co-packing is definitely a difficult thing when it comes to just starting off. So people I've seen that they start off small in their own facility, and then when they grow in scale, they find a co-packer that's right for their needs, that kind of thing.
Right, that's smart. So you do think at some point you'll go to a co-packer?
We believe that we'll hold on to the fermentation process for quite some time, until unless co-packer comes along. But we believe that having like a bottling facility for our ready to drinks.
So you'll create the base product.
Exactly.
But you do anticipate maybe shipping that in large volume to some place that can bottle it for you.
Mm-hmm. So our concentrates will continue to produce ourselves, and then the bottling facility and like those kind of capabilities, they're quite common and they're quite easy to find.
Got it.
So we believe we'll have it kind of split like that.
And so they'll take the concentrate and they'll make the different varieties that you guys produce. So for example, they could take the concentrate, for example, and add the sparkling water when you go in that sparkling water direction.
Exactly, yeah.
And the various derivatives.
Exactly. So they receive our concentrates, and then they bottle it straight, or they mix it with something and then bottle it and then put a label on it, things like that.
Do you see there being a white label opportunity here, where you'll take your concentrate and ship it to other countries and other brands, and allow them to use your kind of special concentrate?
Yeah, so we've had a few inquiries here in the domestic market, and also in other like Asian countries and like some Middle West countries, for our product to be sold as a private labeling opportunity. So we're currently working with an exporter to Japan, and it seems like he'll be taking it, and then he'll be selling it at a luxury Japanese department store under their brand.
Very cool. So you are open to white label. Now, you mentioned that there's an interest in this product in Asia, for example, as well as domestic. Do you see this being a product aimed at the Asian consumer, or is this a product that you think has broad appeal?
So apple cider vinegar is something that's generally drinking by Americans, and then vinegar is something that Asians are common to drinking. Like in Japan, for example, over 90% of the population drink vinegar, so it's a very common beverage for them. And then apple cider vinegar is arising as a new beverage trend for Americans. So then we're kind of like putting the two together. So it has general appeal for Americans and also for other countries like Asia as well.
Perfect. Okay, so last thought for someone who's starting a business. You'd recommend it? You wouldn't recommend it? You'd give them a little piece of advice to help them make it a little bit easier for them?
Have a budget.
Okay.
Yeah, have a budget. Know where you want to spend it to, and also perhaps like after this budget, what's the next step, that kind of thing. So if you want to go ahead with the business, or if you want to stop, or something like that. So maybe having a plan from the very beginning about how much you want to allocate towards this business, or something like that.
And when's the right time to ask friends, family, people to maybe put a little bit of money in?
Maybe the beginning.
And if you don't, in my case, when I didn't have friends and family who had a lot of money, I managed to bootstrap it inexpensively and get some initial traction. And once I had that traction, then it was a little easier to go raise money from angels and so on. So. Okay, thank you for your time today, Iris. Tell the folks who are listening where they can find out more about Vitox drinking vinegar and your products and you.
Yeah, so our website is www.vitoxvinegar.com. It's all V as in victory, so victory ice cream, TOX.
TOX, X as in xylophone?
Yes.
X as in X-ray?
Yes.
And then vinegar.
Vinegar.com.
Perfect. And on there, it's got your social media stuff, it's got your contacts, it's got your email and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And then our Instagram is, Vitox Vinegar. So
perfect. Everything's aligned.
Okay.
All right. So if anyone's interested in talking to you about how you started the business, they should reach out to you there. If anyone's interested in putting your product on their shelves and distributing it, they should contact you there also. You're also probably interested in companies that are interested in white labeling your product outside of the US?
Yes.
Perfect. And investors should reach out to you there too?
Yes.
Perfect. Iris, thank you very much for your time today. We really do appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.